Problem-solving approach. Let's start with our main question. Is problem-solving important for managers or not? Problem-solving is an aspect of everyone's work. Whether you are an entry-level employee or a manager, problems may be resolved by project manager for their clients and team members, while individual contributors may resolve the problem for either themselves or their co-workers. Consequently, it's crucial for every employee to comprehend the problem-solving method and cultivate problem-solving abilities. What about employees? Should employees acquire the skill of problem-solving or not? When employees discuss problem-solving, they are usually attempting to assess your ability and skills to deal with difficult situations and complex business problems. Almost all employers value problem-solving abilities and seek employees with these traits to aid in decision-making in the day-to-day operations of the company. After we have known how problem solving is very important for employees and managers, we need to know the main definition of problem solving. Problem solving is the process of comprehending a problem and working towards an effective solution. Depending on the nature and the complexity of the problem, it may acquire the use of mathematical operations and may put your critical thinking skills to the test. We are going to talk now about the four main steps of problem solving. The first step, which is problem identification, has three sub-steps: problem existence, definition of problem, causes of problem. Second step, which is solution design. Third step, which is the choice. And the last step, which is implementation.
We all should agree that the problem exists. So, first, you should know and agree that you have a problem in your organization or system. So, how can we define a problem? It is generally considered to be a task or situation which is difficult to deal with or control due to complexity and intransparency. In everyday language, a problem is a question proposed for solution, a matter stated for examination or proof. Finally, it can be summarized as a difficulty that has to be resolved or dealt with. Okay, so what causes a problem? We have multiple reasons like lack of strategy. Many of the most common MIS issues can be traced back to a lack of a solid strategy. Information system leaders are well aware of the many tools available to gather data on their network, but putting that information to use is often a challenge. Meeting organizational needs. MIS plays an ever increasing role in organizations with professionals relying on technology for every aspect of operations. Sales and marketing rely heavily on customer relationship software to track client interactions. For instance, while accounting needs its own software for billing, invoicing, and financial tracking. Attracting and retaining top talent. For at least the past couple decades, the growth in technology has outpaced the number of people entering the field. Over the past 7 out of 10 years, IT positions have been in the top 10 of jobs with the most hiring challenges, as documented by Manpower Group. The professionals most in demand, including developers and programmers, database administrators, and IT leaders and managers. Last but not least, integrating new technologies. Although there are plenty of comprehensive solutions, business will definitely find that they have multiple types of software operating at once. This includes general administrative tools like Microsoft Office, as well as specialized tools for accounting, customer relationship management, and project management tools, among many others. Ensuring all these tools work together is essential since otherwise employees will find they have to duplicate processes.
There are three types of problems in firms: organizational problems, technology problems, and people problems. I'm gonna tell you about six problems in each type. Let's start with the organizational problems. We have outdated business process, unsupportive culture and attitudes, political infighting, turbulent business environment change, complexity of tasks, and inadequate resources. Let's now move to the technology problems: insufficient or aging hardware, outdated software, inadequate database capacity, insufficient telecommunications capacity, incompatibility of old systems with new technology, and rapid technology change. Now we're going to talk about people problems: lack of employee training, difficulties of evaluating performance, legal and regulatory compliance, work environment, ergonomics, poor or indecisive management, lack of employee support and participation. And that was the last problem in the people problems. Let's now move to the second step of problem solving, which is solution design. But first, let's know what is solution design. Solution design is a high-level visual depiction of business solutions that outlines how the organization will maximize the effectiveness of the solution and minimizing cost of time required for implementation. And that's how we define the solution design. How solution design happens. The story begins when the organization's stakeholders acknowledge a specific business need and decide to do something about it. At first, these needs are broadly defined. For example, designing and implementing an algorithm to predict the demand for umbrellas in the rainy season. During requirement gathering, typically conducted by business analysts, requirements are articulated and refined, and the results are documented in a BRD. At Intelligent, solution designers are involved right from the beginning of the project to build the project framework. Depending on the stage of the project, example, enhancement or starting new activity, is broken down to different levels. Artifacts are created at each level that can be used by different stakeholders. A solution designer works with different stakeholders to receive end user requirements and to communicate changes required. He identifies based on the allocated requirements. Technical and architectural changes required impacts on the interconnected systems are identified and noted in functional and non-functional specifications process flows. Let's now move to the last step of the problem solving. Implementation. The mechanism of this stage is to implement adjustments after the problem has been resolved in order to complete the problem solving approach. Can we begin implementing what the business plans to do? And what's the best, building a solution or buying a one? The solution must then be tested and personnel must be trained on it. The corporation needs to replace the management as just a result of changes that have occurred in order to avoid more issues. In this phase, we will use the new approach for evaluating the results to determine whether the solutions was worthwhile or not. The implementers must provide management with feedback and an evaluation of the solution at the conclusion. The problem must be accurately identified and represented if a plan is to be implemented successfully. Expert problem solvers modify their approaches more frequently, analyze more options, carefully consider options before eliminating them, and come to more practical conclusions when applying a method.